Let's talk first of all about what an algebraic expression is. An algebraic expression is made up of numbers, variables, or could be a combination of both. It could also be a combination of operations on variables and numbers. Let's look at an example of that. If we saw just the number 4, that is technically an algebraic expression because it is a number. If we just had a plain X or some other type of a letter, that would also be considered an algebraic expression. It could be a combination of both, 4x, or it could be a combination of operations, which would be something like saying 4x plus 5 minus 6z. Now, we talked about, it could be a combination of numbers, variables, or a combination of both. But what exactly is a variable? What does that mean? Well, a variable is just a letter that is holding the place of some number. If we knew what that number was, we wouldn't have to use the letter. We'd just write the number. But in this case here where we have 4x, that literally means 4 times whatever that number is. And since we don't know what that number is, we have to let a variable represent it, a letter. It could be a 1. In that case, it would be 4 times 1. If it were a 5,000, it would be 4 times 5,000. Now, when you replace the variable with a number, we call that evaluating the expression. Your instructions will just simply say evaluate the expression. Now, you have to remember, though, that even after you replace the variable with a number and you go to simplify, then we have to keep in mind that order of operations is always in effect. Okay. So, order of operations, if you'll remember, you can, that little mnemonic device was please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and the P then represented parentheses and grouping symbols. Then next comes exponents. After that, we can multiply and divide, but notice that since these are together, neither one is more important than the other. So we just do multiplication and division left to right as you see it in the problem. The AS stands for addition and subtraction, and there again, this would just be left to right as you see it in the problem. Neither one of these operations is more important than the other one. So let's go ahead and let's evaluate this expression, which means we're going to replace the variables with the numbers. For x is 10, y is 3, and z is 4. Now, our expression says we're going to take whatever x is and then add 2 times whatever y is and divide by whatever z is. Well, they've given us an x is supposed to be 10, y is supposed to be 3, and z is supposed to be 4. So we can just simply replace those variables with those numbers and then simplify. Here on top, the numerator and then also the denominator of a fraction is technically a grouping symbol, even though it's not listed as a grouping symbol. But you have to do the numerator first before you can divide. So we're going to have to, and within the numerator we have addition and then we also have multiplication. So we have to do the multiplication part first, which would make it 10 plus 6 then divided by 4. Now, finish out the numerator. 10 plus 6 would give you 16, and then when you divide by 4, the answer is 4. Now here's an example that comes directly from your My Math Lab. This is exactly what your My Math Lab looks like. So we have this problem that says evaluate the expression for x equals 2 and y equals 4. And here is our expression. So we want to know what that equals. Well, that tells us to take 6 minus whatever y is minus whatever x is. Now we can fill in what we know. We know that x is supposed to be 2 and we know that y is supposed to be 4. Now we have to do order of operations. Do parentheses and grouping symbols first. So that would be 6 minus, the 4 minus 2 is 2. And now we can finish that out. 6 minus 2 is 4.